Wow, that's actually surprising. Those are the only upgrades you can do. What's the side quest again? You have to go collect the material?
Yeah, it was 2 golden elements.
Okay. Oh, you are out of one of those. Wonder how much shopping you're gonna need to do for ingredients. Is it the melon? It's the melon. Yeah, don't buy too many. You are gonna need that money.
Worst case, I can just grind a few of the eclipses. They still have access to.
Definitely buy that. Now let's see if your shoes purchases was a bad idea. It was.
Bad idea.
Oh boy,
Good thing I didn't
that's
buy
so
the
much
armor.
better. Okay, now sell all your other armor. Oh, maybe check that one. Maybe see if you can equip that. Maybe see if it's better than what you've got.
I won't go and sell a bunch of stuff until I have an actual requirement. I know that big purchase where was cool.
Oh yeah, you're gonna want that core. So
I'm
I guess
not
you
in
can
a
sell all
massive
of the armor
hurry. Get it yet?
because it was worse than what you had, right? That cool armor that you got in the dungeon was worse than the stuff that you could buy at the start of the next chapter.
Yep. Put the chick.
It's probably gonna be the same. You have to check on Co because, yep,
Male
they're
shoe.
worse. Sell all your shoes. Sell all your shoes because we're gonna buy more shoes. Eventually. Okay.
Not quite enough to buy it.
Is
Only
now the
5,000
time?
away.
Did set 3 come out?
No?
No, you're still good. This shop never updates.
Fine.
But this shop did update.
Recipe cutlet bowl. Go.
That does sound pretty good.
It does sound really. I just have pizza. I have.
That's just
Yeah.
wrong. Oh yeah.
Lots of pizza.
No, I'm just now thinking of the. So I went over and hung out at Toxin's place last week, and he lives within walking distance of a pretty good ramen shop.
Oh, I'm so envious. There are like none of those.
The ramen was pretty good. The ramen was pretty good, and I want to go back. So
それじゃあ始めましょう。
it's something.
Thanks. It's something.
Isn't that fun? Anyway, you got a new party member, so wait
Yeah.
till you recollect him before you do all the mystery cooking.
Hmm. Oh,
I think you're good here. I think it's time to move on.
the brick alley. Monsters. Streets. I like this track.
グリードがこんなに、
放ってはおけない。そこシュートシュート、そこシュート。
Hey, Co, do you want to? Oh,
シュートそこ
I was gonna say, do you want to swap to wind real quick, Co? Like,
任せろ。
oh my, that's cool.
もらったもらったもらったもらった。
Oh, we're getting there.
レイジチャンスだ。せいや
You now have it.
もらった。
Cross
さあ
right.
決めるぜ。
Let's go.
ここへなさい。
そこだ。もらった。
アイシクル
今だ。
I don't know that you needed to go that hard on this poor guy,
援
but
護する
He's so
わ。
tanky.
はーや
Even dead?
エクステンドギア。
氷のさ
He didn't even
アイ
die.
シクルノバ。
not fully, but he was basically dead.
今ので全
All of them.
ユキノさ
やっと目覚めて行動を開始したみたいね。
アスカ君も無事で何よりだ。
マスターもご無事だったんですね。
ん。で、どうして俺が気を失ってたことを知ってるんすか。
金曜
この周辺の住民は屋内に避難しています。二人とも一旦
Oh.
危ね
Sword cane.
遂げよ。
え。な。
お見事です。
I like that again. They this was all foreshadowed as to being possible because they talked about spell casting and other spirit arms that are not soul
持って
devices.
きた結界具を設置した方がいいわね。
Hurry up and brought.
それが終わり次
Twice
第
you brought.
But that is easily one of my
こちらも
favorite
外界との連
tropes.
絡は全く取れていない状況です。
Just this entire guy right now that's speaking.
Old
Guy that
old
is
master.
that is just, well, not even just an old master, just old guy that is still a badass, still a
Yeah.
force to be reckoned
時空
with.
間を隔絶する
I do
不
also
可
like that
侵
trope.
の結界のようでしてな。
It's cool.
Because they never flaunt it, right?
脱
Yeah,
出
they're
する
just
ことはもちろん、
I was just.
外からの侵入も不可能だわ。
Oh, don't mind those like 30 back there.
裏の参勢力もさぞ手をこまねいているんじゃないかしら。やはり外からの助けは森宮にいる私たちだけで。
だな。
で、そんなあなたたちに XRC メンバーの消息情報。
Information.
本当っす。
How
場
do you
所は
have?
定かじゃないけど、今。
They're
ちょうどツケを
here.
当たっているとこ
Oh,
ろ
that's
よ。
crazy. They're in town still. Oh, who could have seen that?
そうでしたか。よかった。
ああ、なんとかして絶対に合流しねえとな。
Very helpful. Ah, yes, I have some information about your members. They're in town still.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like they could
噂を
move around. They're not staying put. How did your phone?
ってさい
マスター、
ああ、サイフォンに搭載されあくまで限られた範囲だが、何かと必要になるだろうし。
助かる。
お仲間の情報よ。ソウルデバイスを持った学生が
Cool.
記
Thank
念
you.
公園でも
Actual information.
この近く
例の柱。
二人とも。
了解。
万全の
Okay, so I did find a story that I read it because there was nothing else to read. And so the reason I put it down initially was because the character was so annoying that it made me want to stab the character and just be like, stop that. Stop being an annoying nuisance. Like the character's like, I'm going to be an annoying nuisance, and it goes and bees an annoying nuisance. Like, just stop it. Please, just do the story. Stop being annoying.
Stop it. Get
Just,
help.
please.
Yeah.
I despise characters who are annoying just for the sake of being. It is the worst character concept I know of. Especially because, like, if you're annoying the character says you're annoying, please stop, then you should stop. Not go and needle him more. Wait a second. I killed creatures. Don't I have gems?
No gems. You're not in an eclipse right now.
Doesn't have gold stuff, but she has warrior god ore. Nice.
Yeah.
Also note all
The
new
current
materials.
the current tier materials, yes. Yes.
あら、やめちゃ
The
うの
character was being annoying and frustrating, and so I put the story down, and when I picked it back up, I skipped like the next step. It wasn't so frustrating. Then I continued from there. And honestly, quite good. There is minor perturbance though, because they have
perturbance.
a luck stat. Not called luck, but it is luck.
なんとか無事について
I've mentioned one or two things perhaps about those.
Yeah, you have.
The way that it's used in the story isn't so annoying. And there's even a part later on that's actually kind of intriguing because there's like you can interact with it. It's an actual thing. And so item that you can use. And this isn't really spoiled.
こんなものが街中に現れてやがるのか。
It's called a Fate Fulcrum. And what it does is it siphons like the luck of the holder of the item to use in a
他の場
burst.
所より強く現れているわ
And what it does is, as is explained, or is you just throw like 100 dice in the air, and it makes it more likely that one or two of them, or like a handful of them, will roll more favorably in your favor. But there's still 100 dice in the air. A lot of them might not roll in your favor.
Right.
So the first time it's used, like a building nearby collapses. The girl inside doesn't get hurt. The reason why the building fell apart? Well, it was really built. It was shoddily built. It was going to fall anyway. It just fell now, which is annoying because that's, you know, shoehorned right. But it's interesting. Item he made is able to interact with this meta concept in the story, which is interesting. So the story was interesting enough for me to overlook so far its use of luck. Because as you know, luck is just the author going Deus Ex Machina, but haha, I have a reason to do this. Because,
おそらく柱
or haha, weird things are happening because the character's high luck. That's totally not main character. That's making stuff happen
No,
to
not
them.
at all.
Definitely not. And so, oh, watch this. They're part of the inner. Oh no.
あなた方は
確か大学教授と全
Yeah. That metastats like that bother me on a lazy to explain. Usually it's lazy writing to explain why things are happening to the MC and why they're, oh, you found the item you need, or that's interesting. That's so lucky of you to come across the right person at the right time.
こんな状況でフ
Because
ィール
in
ド
the
ワークなん
story,
て
it has also negative side of. Okay.
そうだこの近くで学生を見かけません
I've
でしたか
seen it explained as, oh, it's an omen of interesting. Bit of a.
俺たちと同じ
Okay.
森宮学園の生徒なんで
Okay,
すけど
fine. I do like the story though, because this story does something that I tend to have. Well, in some stories, there are things that are there are skill slots, and changing your skills and or combining skills is a thing that the story is like built around progression. These stories tend to have problems where the character gets stuck with a skill in some form that they can't do anything with, and they can't remove it from a skill slot, because
もしかして
obviously skill slots, which are based off video game mechanics, right? Obviously you can't change those whatsoever in any game that you ever played. You can't just go and respec or, you know,
なぜ入ったかは
swap
わからない
skills
け
at
ど
all.
急いで
But
お手を
clearly
No,
when you
that's
have
never
skill
happened.
slots,
That's never.
clearly when you have skill slots, this must be jammed and stuck with your choice. And it bothers me because there's a lot of these stories that have like, oh, you have 5 skill slots and you need to combine your skills, and if you don't combine them right, then you're screwed and you brick your build and you can't respec. But this is a real life situation with real people. You brick your build, you die, or you just stop and then like you get killed because you messed something up, or your enemies can overtake you, or some sort of nonsense. And it's like, it's such a forced mechanic to drive the story.
どうもっす
It's frustrating because it's like, oh no, the main character selected this skill that no one thinks is any good because they can't combine it with anything, so the characters look down upon, or their build is considered bricks. Wants to work with them, useless. You know, some sort of silly nonsense. Do you have anything for me, sir?
You know what it is? That's very it's very ARPG code. Well, maybe not the ones you're thinking of, but Diablo 2,
Yeah,
Titan Quest.
I was
Stuff
playing
where
Diablo 2.
respecing
Oh
is-
goodness, a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Those games where or even older style MMOs, it's very easy to brick a
Yeah.
Ragnarok character.
I do like the look.
Yeah, no, like the dungeons are all like the building, like the
こい
construction
つは
of
ま
them
るで徘
is
徊
kind
し
of
て
samey, but they have they generally have really good skyboxes,
空
you know, and
Yeah.
the inside design is pretty good.
どうやら奥急い
了解
Yeah, I get that it's a thing that you can do. The problem.
Oh no. So I'm just saying it doesn't come from like the concept doesn't come from nowhere, but it is weird that you're choosing to apply it here.
yeah. Right. 。
Right.
again, I just feel it's like fate or luck or something where it's just a device that's used to push problems into a story that is improperly used or not thought out. Because so for instance, in Path of Ascension, they could just unslot skills essentially, more or less. But like if you bring it into the inner sphere or spirit, or I forget which concept it is, but if you bring it closer to your core, then it's more of a pain. Whether or not that's actual pain or damage health, it is either permanent or temporary depending on how you do it.
Yeah, it wasn't damage. It just took longer to move it.
Yeah, and so that is probably in Path of Ascension the best way, or best system I've seen use pseudo skill slots, because they're not really slots. There's just like a capacity. If you feel the capacity, you can't quite get more. Or is there? No, wait.
Except it's totally slots because you can get more of them through certain.
I forget if it's basically you can have as many in the outer sphere as you want, but only so many in the inner sphere. And the inner spirit ones
outer's
ones.
infinite. Outer's infinite. Inner is generally tier based. Generally tier based. So like basically the higher level you are, the more you get, and then there's usually only one. I say usually though.
Yeah. So Path of Ascension is the best I've seen in this way, where you can just change them, and it's a pain. You don't really want to do it, but if you actually need to, then you can. And the reason why it's the best so far that I've come across, because it allows the character to be themselves and not be forced to be stuck with bad things. Because, you know, in some stories, like if some gang's after you and you're like struggling and they want to get you, what if you just like left town and like just moved? I know it's a giant pain in the ass, but you can just leave and go out of their zone of influence. Won't be able to get you. Go away on a ship and suddenly they're not a problem anymore. Now you have different new problems. Being stuck with the gang that you're trying to get away from, even though you could literally just leave, this doesn't feel like it's an open world. It feels like it's a force mode. And so these skill systems where it's like, oh, once you get a skill, you can't unslot it. You have to combine it. And so eventually you're like combining skills and then you break your build. Or the nobles only, they're the ones who keep the skill combinations to themselves. So all the commoners have basically no power, and they can never gain power because they don't know how to combine the skills right. Because you need to pick up like meditation, and if you don't, then you can't be a mage because, well, you're screwed. You didn't pick up meditation. Combines, which is like the sixth component, which combines everything together at stage 3. So your build's bricked. Or something like that. It's just like it's
Yes.
very frustrating to read because these are systems that are inspired by games, and most games allow you to respec, even if it's a high cost or rare item you need to get, or very frustrating to do. There should be a way to respec stuff like that. And these stories that have skills like this, or ways that have skills like skill slot, if you don't have the right skill for the situation, you just can't do anything about it. And in my mind, I like to joke. I don't know if I'll write like a little tiny short story where it's like, character, you didn't have the right skill. Oh no, you fell off your horse because you didn't have the riding skill, and you fell into a creek, and then you drowned because you didn't have the swimming skill. Because you were wearing heavy armor and you can't stand up fast enough. You drowned in this puddle of water because you didn't have the swimming skill, or the water breathing skill, or the breath holding skill, or the riding skill. So, you know, I guess you just die. some stories feel that level of silly,
氷のアイシクル
and it's very frustrating.
さてまだまだ行くぜ
Yeah. Skill slot system I don't like generally. But this story that I was reading, I'm getting back on topic finally. You can remove skills. It just causes immense pain. And if you try to remove a skill that's higher than your character, like race tier or like race level, because like you can upgrade yourself over time. So if you try to get rid of a skill that's like more powerful than you physically are, it can cause permanent or even death, permanent damage or death. So if you upgrade your skill and you're like, well, I really need to get rid of this, then you need to like prepare, like have a bunch of potions, like shell out a bunch of money to this business that like caters to helping you get rid of your skills, stuff like that. And I like that, but I like having the ascension system more. It just lets you do that. And while it's time consuming and kind of a pain, it's
あとは頼むぜ
less physical punishment for wanting to adjust into the direct, which just allows you to be more flexible with the right.
シュートシュートシュートそこシュートシュートシュート
So yeah, the story's lighties. It got published. I think you can even give it paperback. I don't know if I'd say I'd highly recommend it. It's interesting. If you don't mind the character being a smart ass and annoying over her smart, then I'd recommend book 1. If you don't like smart ass annoying characters, then I would recommend starting at book 2. You really don't lose that much. The first book is kind of depressing. And overall, I think the character really needs to start acting like he has all the trauma that he actually has. It feels like the character, he's gone through all this stuff and it's really terrible, but he's too lenient. No, I should. He's too lenient to certain people, and he seems to be sometimes a bit of too much of a doormat, where he really should be complaining or not putting up with this nonsense, but he's doing it. He's putting up with it because no reason. Like, he even mentions that he should be annoyed by this, but he's like, eh. Can't wait to talk to you about Downtown.
I'll get there eventually. Eventually.
You get mages can't cast magic, so they start lifting other buff mage. Super buff. They take creatine that they make from mushrooms.
そらユキ
Anyway, hi friends.
どうしてここに話は後だ
一気に片付けましょう
But of course, the issue with finding this story that I'm reading is now I'm almost through it, and now I'm gonna have to find some history.
シュートそこシュートそこシュートシュートそこシュートシュートシュート
I might give the Dritz stories another shot. I don't know if I'm gonna have to skip a book thing, and I really don't want to. Forget. I'm on the book where Dritz just back down to deal with his causing problems with his friends.
Why would you be skipping a book?
Sorry?
I said, okay, I got it. Why would you be skipping a book?
the wording, the way things are
大丈夫二人とも
prose is very dry. It's very style of
コウ先輩
kind of mean.